I just ask the Holy Spirit that this very moment might truly become a sincere and humble prayer. This morning, I'm here with my wife and a great friend of mine who came to help me transfer from the car to the wheelchair. I actually had the unexpected grace of having a major accident, a profound grace that truly brought me much closer to the beauty of God. Hello, my dear friends. I was very kindly invited here today to speak with you all about the periods. But I will give a brief introduction because you might be wondering, what period is this? What does this mean? The farm. It's not to get anyone off drugs. If it were for that, I wouldn't have left everything behind to dedicate myself to this cause. The primary purpose of this farm is to build new men, to lift them out of the mud, and give a man the dignity of being a man. Is there anything more beautiful than a man being a man? And a woman, of course, being a woman. Essentially, this means being the beloved children of God. The farm was created for this very purpose. And when I acquire this dignity, drugs have no place in my life. It's a small thing. I would like to cordially invite you to contemplate and reflect alongside me now on this fascinating and insightful little journey that we are just about to embark upon together. Life is a school, and we go through many different schools. The very first school, we at the farm, we can simply call it the fourth school. What is the first school? The first school is in the mother's womb. In my professional role as a therapist, when I delve deeply into the souls of these individuals and reach the maternal womb with them, it is a truly and profoundly impressive experience. At the moment of conception, God has already defined exactly what that person is meant to do during their time here on this earth. Each person is unique. It's incredibly beautiful. There is no one ugly, no one deformed, no one. That doesn't exist in God's plan. So why does this person steal and kill, and even go so far as to take their boyfriend along to murder the entire family? Steal from the family to buy drugs? Why? Why really? God? Therefore, inside the mother's womb, the person is already a distinct and living human being. They feel. There are already complex biological neurons and neural synapses present right there. A child in the womb, for example, can sense when they are about to be aborted. When the cold abortion instrument enters the mother's uterus, which is the most sacred place on earth and the most protected place on earth, the tiny baby feels it immediately when that sharp instrument comes to slowly tear apart their small, fragile body, piece by painful piece. It crushes the head, it crushes, and then with the suction machine, it removes and the baby feels it. An unborn baby can actually feel when they are not truly wanted in the womb. Not loved, not wanted. The mother. I attended a social party, and while I was at that specific party, she hooked up, which is a very common expression. And in this context, hooking up means having a sexual relationship. She ended up pregnant and the family doesn't want it. Now she is left all alone, struggling to make ends meet. This poor, vulnerable young mother. The big problem is that the one inside feels that they are not accepted to come to earth. What a lesson, dear friends. It is a lesson entirely and purely of love. And there the child has to learn how to adapt to a mother who is simply unable to love. A stressed mother, a stressed child. Science today already shows this so clearly. The fetus, not loved. Their little face. It is truly impressive when we perform regression and at a specific point we stop to ask, what is it like there? It is dark. What do you hear? They're fighting. Inside the warmth of my mother's womb, I already begin to hear external sounds. I am already beginning to truly feel how lovely it is to be right there, watching the mother's hand as it gently caresses her belly, feeling all of that deep affection. What a wonderful school the mother's womb is. The father's kiss on his wife's belly. All of it the Holy Child. Suddenly, there are many young mothers who truly want to have a beautiful little girl just so they can spend time lovingly combing her long hair. And then quite suddenly, it is revealed to be a boy. He feels that his personal sense of identity is not being accepted. Well, why isn't being a man accepted? Because my mother, who is a woman, is the first school. Naturally, it goes without saying that the deeply rooted complex challenges I bring from that first school are much more difficult to get out of my head as I eventually reach adulthood. There are mothers who want to have an abortion, and we ask, don't abort. Wait to kill after the child is born? No, because they think that just a tiny insignificant sip of very strong and bitter herbal tea is something they're not really seeing. In their own minds, they honestly seem to think that it just doesn't matter. It's the same crime. When I first arrived here on earth, I found that the earth had absolutely no room or space for me, simply because my mother refused to let me attend my very first school. The second school of thought, which is extremely and fundamentally important, is that from the very moment you're born, an entirely new count begins for your life. From 0 to 7 years old. Right at this very moment, I can definitely reorganize. When I see my child, for the first time, I am going to feed myself. Mother, your lack of attention, you being so restless, you being nervous, and you, the one who didn't want any of that. He is looking at you It is truly difficult for you to even begin to imagine how, in this second school environment, such an overwhelming and staggering amount of toxic negativity is constantly being absorbed by that poor, innocent, and defenseless little child every single day. When a child nurses, every mother knows that the child looks into the mother's eyes. Providing nourishment is the absolute bare minimum, but what truly matters most is the genuine love and affection shown at feeding time. It's about satiety. There are mothers who aren't bothered by this, and they let their child nurse until 2 years old, 5 years old. I had a certain young man traveling with me. He had a very slack mouth, and he constantly spoke with a notably slack mouth. I said, "This mouth has a problem." When I said that, he replied, "I nurse both at home and outside the house." I asked, "What is it like to nurse outside the house?" I was 5 years old, and if I was at a bus station, anywhere, I would keep pulling at my mother's blouse to get her to nurse me. The mother would submit to going into one of those bathrooms, and just imagine the bus station bathroom to nurse her child. I can only imagine the spectacle of a 5-year-old child nursing in a public bathroom. This destructive drug, this unrelenting and insatiable mouth, that is exactly what a person eventually becomes with this type of behavior. Afterwards, you could give them gold dust and they would still want more. Consequently, it is important to recognize that the time allocated for nursing can extend for a period of 6 months. After that, you start giving them a little porridge to get them used to it and begin weaning. That's how nature works. The cow does this with her calf. The ram does it, the sheep does it too, and even the hen. Why not us humans? Is it love? No, it's a lack of respect. Because the first education happens during breastfeeding. You are going to eat for the first time. You are going to walk for the first time. Dear friends, one thing is when the father and mother are together and someone stands in front with open arms while the other lets go of the child, so that he can take his first steps on earth toward a safe haven, which is the arms of his father or mother. He goes, and... But people don't pay attention to this anymore because there's no time. Where do I put him? In the baby walker. I keep pushing myself with my little legs and bump into the table leg, bump into the wall, and keep turning myself around. Do you think that's safer? Is it the one who walks securely or the one who walks? This school, up to 7 years old, is where it comes in, which should be a correction for what you didn't do, because you didn't see it. The child was in the womb, now you can correct it. But you don't correct it. Once this initial breastfeeding stage has finally concluded, it is then followed by what is known as the anal phase. It's the poop phase. The greatest gift a child can give to their mother is poop. It's the fecal mass. It's the first thing I produce. But when it's not accepted, because you smell bad, you get punished because you pooped at a time your mother didn't want. She was already dressed up, all perfumed. And now the child gives her that gift. I'll give two examples. I used to tell this story at a certain point, and there was a very fancy mother. She looked directly into my eyes and shared her story with me. A short while later, she asked if she could speak and then said, "My dear son, every single time that I was just about to start changing my clothes, he would always go and hide himself away from me." Igor. But this mother was so stressed, she wanted him to poop quickly because she was about to change clothes and didn't want to have to deal with it afterwards, but he didn't want to. "I won't do this need. According to your schedule, it's mine, but I'm not heard, not understood, not taken seriously." Because a child can't even defecate when they feel like it. "Do I have to meet your needs at your convenience? Me? My dear?" This is the moment that creates omnipotence in the child. Because the breast is yours. I cried for you to give me milk, but the poop is mine. So I end up constipated. I'd rather get sick than give it to you. He wins over his mother by getting sick. That's what he prefers. And then he sees his mother's agony as she switches between Danone Ninho, cow's milk, and goat's milk. But even after all of that, he still doesn't go. Remember that young boy I was telling you about earlier, the one who used to hide away underneath his bed? Well, he eventually went off to study at a local school where you could look right out of the window and see the entire schoolyard. One day, his sister turned to their mother and said, "Mom, I've noticed that our brother never actually goes out into the yard to play with the others." The mother went there right away, to the school. "What's going on with my son? Why is everyone playing in the yard except him? All he wants is to spend all his time in the bathroom." He would use the restroom at school, but not at home. Because they weren't worthy of receiving what I produce. Second school, from 0 to 7 years old. This school ends when the baby teeth fall out. When the child is toothless, it means the big school is coming to an end. Then the third school begins. Once he reaches the age of 7, he begins a new chapter of his life. Then comes the daily routine of going to school, spending time playing with his close friends, and the process of socialization. And he begins the process of gradually accumulating every single bit of that heavy emotional burden, the deep-seated anger, the intense fears that he first encountered and absorbed while in the womb, and those he picked up later at home. And suddenly he discovers that the street is better. Let me do a test with you now. For those of you who have used drugs, at what point did you start to like it? Did you like the street more? Is there anyone here who has used drugs? Yes. You, at what moment, how old were you when the street became sweet? How old? Years? You didn't understand the question? I was little and the street started to feel sweeter than home.
The final total count for this section is 9.
What was sweet about school? What did you go out to do on the street at 9?
Freedom playing.
all of us left home, not for drugs, but to play. It's sweet. You played. Until when did you start using drugs? How old were you? 12 years old. From 9 to 12, you see. I entered this school one way, but it wasn't your father who sent you, right? Mother, I went. It's sweet. After 3 years of sweetness, of playing around, I copied someone. Who did you copy?
At school. Please come right over here to the
School.
To be honest, I really had no idea what that specific object was at the time. Then, after a lot of searching and looking into the details, I finally managed to figure out exactly what it was and what it all meant.
Really was. And then. Did you think you could? Did you meet someone who handled that stuff on the street? Was that guy better or was your father better? That's how it is. I go slowly, just playing around. Suddenly, look, I start liking something and I leave home. You entered the third school. How many years did you spend in that college? How many years on drugs? 24 years on drugs. 9 months in the first school. 7 years in the second school. A total of 24 long years in the third elementary school. You arrive at the farm, doctor. You arrive, doctor, and it's not just any conversation that's going to get you off drugs. It's not about drugs, it's about the world, it's about a school. A school of street smarts, a school of a certain wisdom. So don't come here, you who have never used drugs, trying to give me advice. So what's the farm for? Is it to give advice? This local farm essentially functions as a fourth school for the community. Right, Dad? When I finally arrived at that third school on my list, I wonder what exactly was it that I had brought along with me there. I usually take a snapshot of a typical family dynamic, so I can better understand what is happening, what it is that they have, as a concept of that environment that he went through the schools. I don't know if I take a picture of just one. Do you want me to take a picture when I don't even know you? And what if I were to paint a picture as an artist and wanted to take a snapshot of your family from 0 to 7 years old? Beautiful, 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 right? Wonderful. Will you allow me to paint this wonder? Give me the first person to put in the painting for me to paint. Who would you give me here then? My father. Attention, I'm painting. It's a great wonder, as they say. My father. I would put here then. Attention, in the painting the mother has entered. my father and my mother. I put them in. What else in the painting? My older sister. I've put in my father, mother, and my sister. Father, mother, and my older sister. Is there anyone else? Up to 7 years old, is there anyone else?
The sister?
The other one. I've put in father, mother, and older sister, the other sister. Is there anyone else there? The brother? Is there anything else?
Take a very close look at what we have right here and pay attention.
Right here there are up to 7. Oh no. I am faced with a wonder. Father, mother, sister, sister, and brother. My child, what kind of wonder is this where you are not in the middle? Your father, who did he like more? Your father liked more. Whom? Your mother. Who did you like more? Look at this peculiar family. My father of all who isn't has a little passion. I don't see it, my mother of all, and I of myself. With whom was it that you liked yourself more than the others? It was good there. Yes.
But why?
The tante of the black cocada.
No.
There was something there I didn't like. I am me. And in this game, we take on the care of the person. He comes to us like the pom-pom. Is it the pom-pom who calls? Is that it? The bum-bum-bum. How are you going to talk about drugs to the bum-bum-bum? How long until it finally sinks in for you? Then you're here, but he's not. The Bam, he stays on the sidelines. You are the third to last. There was something I didn't like about it. I am me. And in this particular game, we actually end up taking very good care of the entire person. It reaches us like the pom-pom. We see pom-pom calling. The big shot. How are you going to talk about drugs to the big shot? When will it take you for it to sink in? Huh? You are here, he is not. The big shot, he stays aside. You are the third to last. the second to last. But here there are two realities, my family and me. That's right, because there's something he doesn't like, you know. There's something he doesn't like, and at 9 years old, he preferred the street. If I like it, I stay there. Everyone has their own portrait. No one is the same. Now he stands at a pivotal crossroads. In order to successfully begin the fourth school, you must first find a way to give the entire institution a completely new and profound meaning. The three schools. I'm going to say a new name now. There is a famous expression that comes from the ancient tales of Greek mythology called Pandora, a goddess. Zeus, he then called out to Pandora and told her, please keep this box safe. Do not open. Inside that box there was a secret. And Pandora was looking at the box. Women aren't very vain. Interesting, isn't it? They say it's curious, you women. And the little goddess one day, she slowly opened the ancient box. Inside, the box held a deep discord, and it held a great lingering evil. However, inside the box was the beauty of a child's childhood. All of us have our own little Pandora's box tucked away. To begin the fourth school, you have to open your Pandora's box. What is it that you have inside that you won't open? To start things off for a fourth school, I am required to carefully open up this box, so that the deadly poison that I keep stored deep inside can finally come out. And what a young child often keeps buried deep most inside is a sense of intense anger and a lot of fear. Resentment. What anger did you have at home? Attention, the wonder is starting to reveal itself. My father worked a lot. And then
I was left in the care
of my mother. She was stressed. Don't be afraid to reveal it. My mother was stressed. A stressed mother, and the child is happy. Is that it? Do you understand, child? Quarrelsome. My mother was stressed and quarrelsome. For something so innocent and pure, the educator is stressed and quarrelsome. Did you like it? I honestly just do not have the courage to do it at this moment. The fourth school starts with the invitation to this courage. To open up.
Just a minute. No one needs to use drugs. Son using drugs. Father bread. Problem, I am Mada Vilacio's wife. We have been married for 45 years. We have 4 children. 1 daughter lives in Italy, 1 lives in Guaratigueta, and 2 live in Aracaju. 28 years on the farm, here we are. I'm going to tell you about the situation Vilasio is talking about so you can understand what it is. The daughter who lives in Italy is 42 years old. She's coming to spend a week with us now. Think about it. I didn't know, I didn't understand. We start to understand later on because we should have taken a course on having children before we actually started having them. The daughter at 42 years old, I got married at 16. At 18, I started having children, and by 23, I had 4 kids. And so it happened that this daughter who just arrived is not a user, but you should see, I am unable to say a single word because she just can't stand the sound of my voice. Just to show you what stress is. I stressed out my children and I didn't know it. I didn't know. So this issue of stress is a serious thing. I stressed out the oldest one. I used to say because that's another topic we can't talk about now because it's about temperaments. And she's a very studious person. And I used to say, what a silly girl, what a boring girl. And I wanted her to be clever like me. I'm a very restless person, very fast, very much like that. So I stressed them out. Both daughters, the one who's 43 and the one who's 42, I stressed them out. You should see it. Oh, I just blanked out. What's your name again?
Fred,
Fred has been here these days for a week. He's from the farm and he comes to do therapy with Evilázio. So a week with me. He's been here these days with us. And our oldest daughter is with us too. How's my voice? I don't have a voice. Silent. Why? So I don't stress anyone out. Her childhood. It's not about being 43. It's impressive. Last night was like that. What are we going to eat? That was on Friday, wasn't it, Fred? I said, I don't know. She said, can't you see he's hungry? Then it started. So I thought, what do? I lower my voice. Because I said, but what? How are you going to make the sardines? How do you want it? How do you want it? Look, I didn't say anything. Quietly, Fred. But it's not about that moment. They're 43 years. It's the story. Then the father asked, but how is it going to be? So I said, do you want the sardines as a pate? Do you want it like this? The father asked, he didn't get stressed. Can you believe a story like that? He didn't get stressed. I asked, he got stressed. So the problem is there, it's not the drug. So when I say this, the first person to be drugged on the farm is me. Just think what a big exercise that is. This one spent a week, I went to pull the father like this. Then the father, oh my mother, see how she treats him? You know, it's truly remarkable. We really are just slaves to our own stories. And every time he goes on this journey, I go along on every trip, I'm there with him. Each time I'm more certain that that's what it was. And do you know who's going to fix it? Me and God. Therapy. The farm goes by for a year. I'm 20 years old, 28 years old. I still haven't healed. But just to say it's a serious thing, really serious. So this process is slow, but it moves forward, it gets there. I have a lot of hope. The first thing I do is pray for my own conversion. And then I pray for the conversion of my children to see if we can all get there together. So that's how the process goes.
this girl did her master's degree in Portugal. And she clearly holds a deep grudge and anger because she feels like she's being taken for a fool. because her mother said, with this knowledge I could make money even from a tree stump. But you're a fool, you are. All you do is study, but girl, when it comes to money, she loses all sense of everything. Over 40 years old and doesn't know how to fill out a checkbook, and she wrote a book. Already her second book. But when it comes to money, mine and hers, okay. She got to the cashier and asked the cashier to fill it out for her. No, ma'am, you're the one who has to fill it out. She got all flustered. What is it? It's just putting the amount on the check and signing it. But what's the problem? I'm a fool. It's unbelievable. But let's go back to those schools. So when you finally get to this fourth and final school, we're going to have to carefully re-examine and reinterpret that entire long journey I once took, which was a difficult road filled with deep hurt and lasting resentment. A year, for 3 whole months, I have to go without even seeing my family. During this transformative period of my life, I find that I must re-examine and reinterpret this wounded version of myself. Ultimately, it is the responsibility of the farm to foster a warm and welcoming atmosphere for my recovery. It's about inviting someone to enter a routine, which is work. The experience of living together and a shared sense of spirituality. But even inside the structure of this daily routine, it should always have fresh and meaningful new content. In the second school, I have to work on those 0 to 7 years. That moment when you decided my father worked away from home, I wanted to follow him. Because it's the father who introduces the child to the world, the mother who takes care of things at home. To reinterpret my mother, who was nervous, poor thing, had all her own problems. She brought them from when she was raised by your grandmother. It's not your fault, no. But at the farm, we need to reinterpret all that baggage I picked up. To the point that at 9 years old, I couldn't stand it and thought it would be better to be away. Once the initial 3-month period has finally come to a close, moving forward through the 4th, 5th, and 6th months, it becomes absolutely necessary for us to carefully reinterpret the complex issue of belonging. I don't belong to the family, because what's most important are the others. There is a common theory suggesting that every addict eventually resorts to substance abuse because he simply lacks a genuine sense of connection or belonging within his own family group, and ultimately ends up seeking out and joining an entirely different social circle outside the home. Okay, the 3rd month has finally arrived though. Let's make absolutely sure that this person takes their very first step, yes, into a completely new reality, moving toward a brand new lifestyle. And the respected elders of the farm, the coordinators, should clearly demonstrate this way of life, showing exactly how the first Christians lived their daily lives together. It's interesting how I deal with give. Jeve will either undergo the process of this reintegration into the fold or create the potential opportunity for it to happen. Amen. In the middle of the world, to have a group that and started to live their lives just like the very earliest Christians. Create an atmosphere so that people, when participating in the group, it's not just any group. It's very beautiful and stunning, Chef. But what exactly is the content inside? What am I here for? I am part of a dedicated community of individuals that creates a powerful, enduring bond of fellowship, which is truly capable of leaving a profound and lasting impact on the entire world. I begin to deeply immerse myself in and drink from the incredible beauty of the gospel, which serves as our constant guiding light. Do you truly understand the situation now? Two distinct realities begin to branch off from here. This is forcing me to go back and fix the many mistakes that I made decisions. When I was studying, the teacher made it clear, parents think that children don't make decisions. They do. And when they do, they really do. Now they're not children anymore. You, after 24 years, entered Fazenda at what age?
42.
Just imagine for a moment, it took 42 years to set everything right. What does the world say? A crooked stick can't be straightened, it dies that way. But he's not a stick, no, he's a person. Son, have you fully recovered your strength? Or do you still find yourself making an incredibly exhausting and tremendous effort? With all of those heavy burdens that lead you around like an old man. In your habits, in your lifestyle. This gives me enormous strength inside because I have to be a new man. The problem isn't the drug, it's
This particular situation that we are currently observing right now is actually a very significant example of how these specific elements can come together to create a truly remarkable and unique outcome for everyone involved in the process.
attention. The man who came from a wonderful family drifted away from Jeve. He fell. I really appreciate that, son. Jeve should truly be a peaceful and welcoming oasis in our society, a sanctuary for everyone. This is the place where I come to deeply breathe in the very essence and life of the gospel. Son, a huge responsibility falls on your shoulders. Dearest guy, how much affection I have for you all. But if you don't understand, what are you coming here for? To listen to nonsense? No. It is the essential fuel for me to live through the long week. In order to truly understand and appreciate the beauty of the shared life of a community of people who come together and gather to discover the profound and eternal wonder of the gospel. Perhaps I really should have started my discussion with this specific topic, but I truly wanted to be respectful and obedient to the original invitation I received, focusing on those initial periods from 0 to 3 months. During these crucial months, the goal is to reintegrate them, to clearly show the young person who first arrives at the farm that there is a meaningful and different way of life available to them. It shows a family. If the young person agrees, he will give his first yes. How nice. I want it. He didn't say yes to go to drugs. Now he has to give the other yes. There's a big problem, which is when the family pushes the young person onto the farm and the family wants him to get off drugs. It's not about drugs, it's about leaving that group he migrated to and spent 24 years living in that lifestyle. The farm presents a way of life. Jiva already works on this beforehand. There are, bless you, 7 points that a person should live by. 7 points. The 7 aspects of God's love, that's all you need in this world. When this person becomes enchanted, when they arrive there, they already start getting into gear. Because then they'll see, without society being as disturbed as it is, completely devoid of any radio and without any television, he enters this quiet way of living and daily existence without that external interference, away from the pressures of society, away from the girls, away from the loud parties, and far away from the constant noise of the music. What does the world offer to the youth? Nothing. Today's youth, according to scholars, is called the snowflake generation. They have no consistency, know nothing, want nothing, have no drive. What are we going to leave for these people? Once an individual eventually reaches the point of the 6th month, and if they still haven't arrived at a final decision by then, don't have much hope for a new man. A new one? I have 6 months to say, now I belong to this lifestyle that the fazenda offers me. And my father is not that absent father. My father is a father who is mine, a father who grew up, the father of my father, the father of my mother, the father of my grandmother. He is our father. Six months. I always tend to observe that the experience is distinctly highlighted in this 6th month. There are certain individuals who leave. They don't want to get involved in anything. Their minds are completely elsewhere. With every visit that comes, I've been taking care of the farm for 19 years. Then the friar called me here because he started to realize that the way we worked with the boys became a breeding ground for vocations. That's when the friar was awakened. No, come over here. Retired, I'm here now. At my house, neither Haydn nor Ochman was ever played. What's it called again, isn't it? Once the moment finally arrived, that's it. The family of the household came back. Because I came to realize that man is composed of 70% water. And everything that has an impact on water also has an impact on all of mankind. And there's an experiment by a Japanese man named Masamune Emoto. He takes some water and puts it in certain situations. Then he freezes it and observes the water crystal as if it were mute. My dear. How the water crystal changes depending on the situation that the water is exposed to. Imagine placing a glass of pure crystal clear spring water on a stage where rock music is being played. Aggressive heavy metal music. Then take a close look at the crystal and you will clearly observe the significant difference in the crystal structure after the water has been exposed to that kind of music. water in front of Bach's music in a symphony. How beautiful the crystal becomes compared to a shrill voice. The change that happens to the crystal. I imagine a little child in front of a father, with an arm that thick, with a finger on the child's face, with wide open eyes. Can you imagine how intimidating that is for a child? What happens to her crystal? Fear, he's going to run away, man. Now, it's time to look at those crystals again on the farm. Turn off the music. And if a simple good morning, a bit of kindness can change the crystals, just imagine the harm the world can do. Imagine those people on drugs. What must their crystals be like? We need to address this on the farm. That's why it's so important, especially when you reach the middle of the experience. I have to make a decision. Do I want this or not? Think about the ridge of the house. The ridge of the house is the highest point. A person who comes to the farm, if they come just to leave, that's dangerous. I'm entering a new lifestyle. I'm entering for good. I'm not entering just to leave. If I come just to leave, when I reach the highest point, which is the 6th month, how do I start counting? If it ends at 12. I start counting down now. 5 months left until I leave. Now there's just one more training left. And the anxiety increases because I'm going back. When you leave the farm, where are you going back to? To where? To where? I missed my 24 years because I didn't come from home. I came from an experience of 24 years. At this point, in the 6th month, you can already tell if the guy is going to go back to drugs. I am amazed. I gave my yes. I belong to this. From the 6th month on, now we enter the 3rd period. It's the period of preparing for flight. From now on, I am the protagonist of the story. The farm is mine. I'm going to take pride in producing the things the farm has to sell so I can learn to support myself. Because I'm not going back home. I don't want to come back here. What I want is to fly. How many times have I seen people in the 6th month messing up? And they say, man, you're going to go back to drugs. Do you have a crystal ball? It's your behavior. You've been here 6-7 months and you're still talking about drugs? Does your mouth water for it, for drugs? Pornography? Fighting on the farm? You don't want to know, my dear friends, when a visitor comes, a girlfriend, that was something else. It was a revolution. One of them said, Mr. Evilázio, when the girlfriend comes, we want to do other things, not just be with family. The father arrives, the mother arrives, the girlfriend arrives. Do you think you're going to stay with your father? With your father or with your girlfriend? Everyone laughs. Of course it's with the girlfriend. And to give new meaning, the father and the mother, and the forgiveness that you, the look in the eyes of that which, aren't you ever going to give new meaning to anything? Even in a space where everything is favorable for you to resume the conversation and ask for forgiveness? No. Then this young man said, look, when the visit arrives and ends, you have no idea the confusion it leaves in your head. So your visit has arrived. So it takes a month and a half to get his head straight. Then it starts all over again. Very expensive. The farm is not just a simple little game that lasts for a single year. No, it is not. It's to change your lifestyle. And Jiva, there's the style. And Jivi is the unique style within our society. I have an extraordinary passion for Jiv because the family comes with all the interest that your child drinks from the source, keeps drinking from the source. There are charisms and charisms. We have this charism that he passes on. 1 year he's trained. Now if he doesn't want to, he's not trained. He's not trained because I don't want to. Aragaju only had 2 old ladies, poor things. 2 mothers. Persevering, and nobody wanted it. Dearest ones, we are the builders of this new life. It's not someone coming from outside, it's not anyone. It's my son. 3rd stage, therefore, either you from the 3rd stage who belong become the protagonist, or you start going back to drugs. And at the end of the year, they give out diplomas. But man, there are some real rascals who get diplomas. And the speech? I'm finally finishing up for the day. I want to give for free what I received for free. So, the prepared, copied speech, it actually makes you angry. Who finishes? Specifically, when it comes to the Mass of the Visitation. Then there he goes in the communion line with his girlfriend holding her by the waist. Look, it's a real show. Me at Mass, I never stay in the back, no way. I go straight to the front row so I don't have to see the spectacle. He already sits all slouched in the chair with his hand behind, leaning his shoulder, leaning his neck. It's a Mass, it's a show. I say, that kid didn't understand anything. You know when we really understand? When he understands, he puts the whole family through the fire. The family is amazed to see the son he used to be. And now that son, who acts without saying a word, meets his son at work in the struggle to support the family, helping to clear the table, to tidy up, right? But no, because when the family comes, if you don't bring Anna Regina, nowadays the names are different, right? And Sheila, in the past it was Maria Jose, but not anymore. Sheila, and maybe there you go. If you don't bring her, I'm leaving. Imagine, son, I'm in this lifestyle. Instead of bringing people in, if you don't bring them, I'm leaving. If you don't bring the whole world in here, I'm leaving. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Our time is quickly running out right now. It was truly and incredibly sweet, wasn't it? It really was. Incredibly sweet. 3rd period. When does it start now? 9? 10. 9 is the 3rd, it ends. 10, 11, 12. And now, just like that, the person suddenly becomes a majestic eagle. ready to fly. So ready to take off into your life. My dear friends, we are currently looking at France, and we have it right here before us today. The islands of the Philippines, the nation of Guatemala, Paraguay, and Mexico. All so he can fly. Fly. Don't just stand there acting like a chicken, only looking at the food at your very feet. Because the year ends and you go back to your neighborhood. Why not go to France? Why not go to Guatemala to put yourself at the service of others? Why not go to Mexico? The world needs you, my dear hard-headed one. I spent a year giving to you and you didn't want it. I came to my own and my own did not receive me. It continues today. This society so wounded, hurt, angry, and does not choose. Just a hand's breadth from your nose, the beauty of not seeing because of the blindness of the world. My dear Gavi, we have an extraordinary mission in the midst of the world. To create oases in society so that youth can refresh themselves with the beauty of life. I was obedient to the invitation, but there are much greater things that you truly need to receive. Okay? Saint Joseph. What question would you have? What doubt would you have? Is the farm meant to get someone off drugs or to create a new man? He is a remarkable individual who has given a completely new meaning to the mistaken path that he once followed, because every single person is inherently beautiful and every person is truly great. You begin in your greatness, go through the dark valley of life and return to your path, the one God made for you. From this maternal governance, we truly appreciate your kind attention, your wonderful gazes, and all the happiness you share.
And Evilázio, we are truly the ones who want to thank you so much for your yes and for Mada's yes as well. We want to say thank you so very much for your presence. You truly have so much to teach all of us through your powerful testimony and through your personal experience, so that we can eventually be this bright point of light out here in the world. My wife, she just stepped outside. They've already received a delivery, but on behalf of my family, as someone who is an ex, as a father who is now starting over with family life, I place myself again. I also place myself in this network of learning where I always have to die to my own will. As someone who is an ex, as a recovering addict, my story made me very restless, anxious. And I just truly want to express my deepest gratitude for this incredible lifestyle that we are, slowly and step by step, passing on to every single person here today. I would just like you to tell me about those first 3 months on the farm, about being away from family with no visits. And during that period, this tool, which is so rich but at the same time destructive, which is the cell phone, this interruption, this absence of family, which in reality sometimes happens because of the frequency of contact with family during those first 3 months. What do you think about that? Could you comment on those first 3 months?
You're saying that the cell phone was necessary, right? Or not?
No, because there is this break within the proposal of that contact.
Look here, son. You'll see the first 3 months begin with a specific set of challenges that you must be ready for. An interview. It should be a very demanding interview. So tell me, what is it exactly that you are looking for? The Fazenda presents, from the very beginning of the experience, the unique proposal we have to offer. When I used to receive people, there were some who didn't really accept the proposal. First, no visits from wives, very strict. No listening to music. Oh no, I won't stay then. There are some who look at their wives, they check with her because she's a real woman and he's a husband who's been healed. And they agree. If you go into the hospital to treat cancer or something, you don't have to get one glass of milk for you and another for your wife, do you? The wife goes home, doesn't she? Ha ha ha, why does she have to be there? Or the mother? No, let her go. The cell phone doesn't help at all. There's no television there, nothing at all. I have a proposal for life. Now, in these very first 3 months of our time together, I realize that I have to give him something significantly more substantial and greater than the life and the world which he left behind, which is to live all of these 3 distinct realities. Professional work and labor, a completely new way of living together in harmony, and the pursuit of deep spirituality. Look, you're dealing with something that's like a lesson. During these first 3 months, let us focus on creating favorable conditions so that he can finally feel comfortable enough to open up and share the deep emotional pains he carries. It's a lifestyle that has nothing to do with life out here. Now, if I mix 2 styles, the person who goes ends up confused. Now the hardest part, it's the first moment of welcoming. It's up to us to welcome them home, to listen to the various grievances and complaints, to understand his pain up to the point where he starts to process his own suffering. To make a portrait of the family, he starts to realize that from there he has, because we are so blind, aren't we, son? We don't see it. Now, these first 3 months, it's so captivating when the person is welcomed with this kind of care, but the proposal must be presented. It's not about welcoming someone and then spending 3 months without seeing the family and without presenting any proposal. Wait, I've spent 3 long months here, and I haven't seen a person, but for what possible reason or purpose? What do you want from me? So I give you the proposal, and I want to know your counter-proposal. I want you for this. And you want to live the gospel. But I can't live the gospel if I'm full of resentment. So these are meetings that should happen in the first period. To see people expressing their pain, letting out their hurt.
Vilasa, in the first month, the first sentence of the gospel during this period is, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing.
He seems to be waiting quite expectantly for me to offer a meaningful comment or some kind of verbal response that he has been waiting to hear.
Look there.
The guy arrives angry about everything, right? The word cross. Do you want another moment, or do you want this moment to continue?
It's underway. Mass will end now at 1 in the afternoon, so even the boys can sell at the exit. We have about 20 minutes left.
I will comply with the request she has made.
Thank you very much indeed.
Jesus. He went to the cross. And on the cross he spoke 7 words. It is the most beautiful sermon I have ever seen about pain. He is the man of pain. On the cross he gave his last sermon, which he didn't even need to say anymore because he had already said everything. This man who came only to love. Only that. At the end of his life, he is betrayed by one of his companions. On the Mount of Olives, he sweated blood from so much pain. And that companion goes to give him a little kiss because he was such a friend, such a brother, that he didn't stand out among the group of 12. And that traitor, then they grabbed hold of him and gave him a severe beating. The punishment was so incredibly severe, involving 120 lashes with that brutal instrument of torture, that his whole body eventually became just like raw meat, completely and utterly without any mercy. When the beating was over, they threw him down in the dungeon deep inside, and they started mocking him, spitting in his face. Oh, so you're a king? Here, have a crown. And what kind of crown did they put on him? And they put it on. Notice the humiliation of this man. They exchanged him for Barabbas, a thief, a criminal. Man, they made a mess of this man. He even had to carry the wood on his shoulder that he was going to be crucified on. Positioned there between 2 common thieves, a simple vagabond, our God, the very man who came to this earth to show us love, a vagabond standing among thieves. Is that truly the way it is? Hey there. I heard your little face. You don't need me to. How long?
Already?
Are you already watching? Welcome, right? Everyone, take a look at this man right here. He's going to be crucified, not like the other 2 thieves. Worse, he's going to be nailed. Just as they start hammering in the nail, he suddenly begins to react. The beginning of the great speech. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I didn't kill, I didn't steal. These hands have done nothing but heal. These feet have never walked toward evil. They grabbed his feet. They quickly nailed down his feet and hands so he couldn't move anymore. Never again. At that very moment he says the words, Father, don't harm these people because they don't know what they're doing. What is remarkable and impressive is that this man, before doing this, he said, they are going to get me. They're going to kill me. But I will rise again. Look at the confidence. This man on the cross says, I will rise again. Let's move forward. Well, he spoke 7 words. The profound concept of this word, forgiveness, can only truly be understood through experience. If I play a single chord now, how would the rest of the song unfold? I have to take from the cross the most beautiful message of love. And for me to forgive, I have to follow the teacher's example. It's not that I'm going to forgive the other person. I have to say to my father, poor thing, he just wanted to work, he didn't want to hurt me. My mother, I feel that I truly must say this. Father, please look after and take care of my father. And please do not mistreat my father or my mother. Our daughter, Father, take care of my mother. Don't let this war go on. If I want to forgive, I will follow the Master's example. Because it's not possible for you to have more anger, to feel the same resentment as he did. He had everything and the power to send down lightning and kill those who were killing him, just like the other disciple. Do you want me to send a lightning bolt? No, calm down. Pay attention. Those who know music will understand what I'm about to say. A chord, you take the C chord, the first one. C. The letters E and G. The very first one, the third one in the sequence, and the fifth one as well. If I read the concept of the word forgiveness itself and combine it with the support that the cross gives, you'll see how beautiful forgiveness is. My dear friends, the very third word of the Holy Gospel is here are the things, but I know, let it be. It's not written here as a prompt, no. The first is when he asks for forgiveness. The second is when he speaks to the thief. And the third is when he gives his mother. Well, and the fourth is when he cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? And the fifth, he says, I am thirsty. Let's combine it all. The first, then he gives what is most precious to him, which is his mother. Then look here, it's in my little head. Thank you. Wow, I'm going to paste what I wrote down right here. Thank you. The first one, Father, forgive. And at the same time, he gives his mother. Look, what is he giving? And the fifth, he says, I am thirsty. He says it, you know to whom? To the guy, the one with the spear, ready to finish him off. He's at the foot of the cross. I am thirsty. Take vinegar and gall. But we know that this message is bigger. I was thirsty and you did not give me anything to drink. I was hungry and you did not give me anything to eat. I was naked and you did not clothe me. He taught this when he was with us. Look at the cross. The great man who is dying and presents himself to his killer as someone in need of him. Dearest ones, in your moment of deep anger, in your moment of great turmoil, simply hand that person over. The very moment I hand my enemy over to the Father, I find peace. I receive the mother. I am receiving the great educator. I am receiving the very one who once educated Christ himself. But if I give, it is in the manner of a magician. Forgiveness is giving, but it's not just saying forgiveness, forgiveness. It's not like that, no. Forgiveness is handing over the person who is humiliating you because he doesn't know what he's doing. Father, forgive this one. Don't let him go to hell because of me. Don't mistreat him on my account. He is forgiveness. And if you do this, you are free from that burden and you receive the mother. The one who gave, yes. She is that woman you receive if you forgive. And you remain simple, humble, in need of the other. The fifth word from the cross is nothing other than this. I thirst for you to give me water. I hunger for you to give me food. And he said, look, at the very end, this is the test. I was hungry and you did not give me food. I was thirsty and I was in prison and you did not visit me. I was a foreigner and you did not welcome me. But Lord, when did I see you? In that poor person. The cross teaches me that to forgive is to turn myself toward the poor, toward the thirsty, toward the hungry. And I place myself again humble and simple. I, the master of history, I will be a student, and if I am to be a student, I will be a disciple of the cross. In the first stage, I will learn to give to the one who mistreated me, to the one who abused me, the one who, that one, no, I didn't go out to kill, I didn't go out to take revenge for my hurt. No. No. At the very beginning, I will learn from the cross. How does the problem of forgiveness work? And when I go out to form that family in the second stage, I go out as someone ready to serve others. That's when the second stage begins. But in the first stage, my child, either you learn or you start off on the wrong foot. It's a little story about forgiveness. I don't want to see your face. It's not about going after the other person to pat them on the back. It's not about saying you're forgiven but not wanting to see the other person's face. Now it's interesting that this word, if you look in the gospel, there are several ways you can see this lesson. For example, the accounting of the one who was called to give an account. In the gospel, he owed his master the world. This I will forgive you. Otherwise, he would have had to sell even his son and wife to pay the debt. You're forgiven. Then the guy comes across someone who owes him just a tiny bit. There he goes. In the gospel, there are plenty of lessons for me to learn to buy from my neighbor. But I don't learn, I read it, but I don't get it. I don't get it because my lifestyle is one that's kept with oil stuck in my throat. What I want is to get even. That's just business. I walk in proud, the big shot, the king of the hill, whatever, and I come out humble. Thirsty, hungry for you. Wanting to build a family. Then when you get out here, people say, that guy has changed. How many times has someone come through the place and I ask if they're a priest? Hey, are you a priest? No, Father, I'm in recovery. The face changes. The look in the eyes changes. The way you walk changes. Buddha, to find out for yourself. Just give it a try.